Hello and welcome yet again, my Firearm Freedom YouTube family. I hope everybody is doing well, doing good on this Sunday evening. I guess evening for Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching somewhere else in the country or somewhere else in the world, it may not be evening for you. Guys, we're going to be talking about a lot today, and I'm hoping that this live stream is going to be relatively helpful for a lot of new people. I do want to say quickly, before we get this live stream started, kind of a reminder that these are live videos. Now, they're live videos to the people that are watching them right now. That obviously is pretty straightforward, but if you're watching these afterwards on the YouTube channel, just be aware that I do these live, obviously, and I wait a good 5, maybe 6 or 7, or sometimes even 10 minutes for everybody to come on in and start watching the live stream before I start talking about the meat of the live stream and kind of the big content talks that are in these videos. So if you're watching this after the fact and you don't want to deal with waiting for me to wait for people to get in, don't worry, just kind of fast forward until maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and that's when we really start getting things going. If I do not wait before I start talking about the meat of the conversation, then unfortunately a lot of people tune in a little bit later and they're like, hey, what did I miss? What's going on? So whatever else. So just a little bit of a side note, but if you guys are enjoying these live streams, let me know down in the comment section. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you're liking about them, what you would like to change. And if you do want to see something else next week, because we do these every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you do want to see something that I have not talked about yet, or even if I have talked about something and you want to just get a little bit of a better idea on it, or you want me to expand on it a little bit more, let me know down in the comments or even in this live chat here, and I will make sure I get that at some point or another. In today's live stream, we are going to be talking about tactical carbines for beginners, basically a beginner's guide to modern rifles. We're talking ARs, AKs, we are talking PCCs and variants of all of those categories and maybe even others, but mainly how it involves beginners, especially now in 2020 because of how crazy everything is all of the time. And if you are a new gun owner right now, it is definitely a little bit of a challenging time to get into more of the tactical carbine world. That's the easiest way to kind of explain that category. There's many names if you want to kind of go into AR and AK variants, but I didn't want to just say AR and AK variants because there's a good chance we're going to be talking about other rifles and pistols in there as well. So I just kind of threw a blanket term over there, and that's going to be just fine. So guys, if you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out the links after this live stream is published in the description to the Firearm Freedom merchandise store. You can get some awesome, sweet merchandise like this. We are consistently trying to put out new merchandise every now and again. And I know I mentioned in last week's live stream that we do have a Patreon account coming. Unfortunately, with all the craziness with Patreon and lawsuits, I figured before I start a Patreon account and then all of a sudden have Patreon in and of itself go belly up, and they're already not even that pro Second Amendment, pro freedom at all for different gun channels on there, that I would actually take a different route. So instead of going with the Patreon account, I actually have not made one yet, obviously, or you guys would have heard about it here already on YouTube. I am thinking we're going to go the Subscribe Star route. Now, it seems like Subscribe Star is a little bit of a different service, kind of the same deal. It allows you to donate to the channel and support the channel, but it's just a little bit different. Now, from what I gather, Subscribe Star is just a little bit more friendly as far as for freedom-loving content, whether that's firearms or whatever else. So it seems like Subscribe Star is going to be the way to go. I don't know for sure, but I am going to be looking into making that, and you guys are probably gonna be seeing that maybe in a couple of days. I don't know for sure, but we were right on the edge. I was literally just about to hit submit on the Patreon account, and then of course there's a lawsuit and everything else comes up, and God knows we're going to make that account live, and then it's going to go under. So I would rather have the more safe and secure route. We'll see what we got. Keep up the great work. Mike, you keep up the great work as well, man. Thank you. What is going on, Casey? So, guys, I also want to give a shout out. I should say, give a shout out to all of my Firearm Freedom family over in our massive, sometimes a little bit weird, but always awesome Discord server that we have for Firearm Freedom. The people over there, the guys over there, were able to help me come up with better ideas for this live stream. So if you want to get in on that, if you want to see what we're talking about, we have a blast over there. I will throw the Discord server link down in the description as well. So if that's something you're interested in kind of a cross-platform communication where we try to help beginners have fun, post ridiculous stuff, go check that out. It is a blast. America, for sure. Guys, should we get started? We're about 6 minutes in. I think it's time to get started in the meat of this talking point, you know. Missed last week. John, no problem at all, man. No problem at all. Thank you so much for watching this week. So guys, once again, we're going to be talking about tactical carbines, kind of a beginner's guide in 2020, in this time in 2020. Jeez, the amount of things that are changing weekly at this point for price availability it is incredible, and it's actually kind of interesting when you look at it from a beginner's standpoint. I actually had some comments on some other videos on the channel where a beginner was asking, they did not own any sort of an AR yet or an AK or anything else, and they said, hey, I'm looking to get into this. You know, what type of caliber would you recommend? What type of setup would you recommend? And that kind of got my gears turning to making this live stream and trying to help maybe some of you guys out there that are beginners at this. You don't maybe own a handgun, your concealed carry, or EDC or whatever else, but you're interested in getting into a rifle and you're not exactly sure what to get, especially with how difficult times are nowadays. So I'm going to talk about pretty much everything that I would recommend, maybe some things that I wouldn't, and some of my own personal experiences with this stuff, and we'll go from there. It's overwhelming sometimes, and that's why you are doing this. Yeah, you know, it is overwhelming for sure. There's so much information out there. Quite frankly, in my opinion, I think there's so much opinions out there about different things, and those opinions are, a lot of the time, they come from not a lot of factually based arguments. A lot of those opinions out there on different topics when it comes to more modern rifles, a lot of people are saying these things because they might have seen it in a meme, or maybe they heard somebody else talk about it, or maybe they saw it in a forum, but they don't necessarily always experience it for themselves. And I think that's a big problem as well when it comes to beginners, because especially with a beginner, they might ask a buddy and their buddy might not know what they're talking about either. So then they'll go to a forum and somebody just kind of is regurgitating incorrect information on a forum, and it can really quickly become very, very challenging. So I'm going to try to alleviate some of that some of those challenging aspects today. Alleviate, is that the right word? I don't know. I love these live streams because you guys can actually see like how illiterate I really am live in person. So that's awesome. I would love to be able to edit out, like I normally do in my tabletop videos, all the weird words that I throw in there, kind of like Mike Tyson, where I don't really know what they mean. You know, that's okay. That's all right. You guys can have a better time with it, I'm sure, in the comments down below of these live streams. First and foremost, we got to tackle the elephant in the room with this one, which is, and I'm going to broad stroke it here, broad stroke it. There's many other subcategories. Beginner, broad stroke of the brush. AR versus AK versus PCC. Which one do you go with, especially when it comes down to 2020, right? So I'm not going to lie to you guys. A lot of my answers to these questions and to these talking points would have changed dramatically if you would have asked me these questions and showed me these talking points as of like a year ago or even 5 or 6 months ago. So a lot of this stuff changes very rapidly right now. But as far as AR versus AK versus PCC, PCC is kind of the broadest stroke here with the brush. simply because I'm lumping everything into this category that is basically chambered in a handgun cartridge. So if beginners out there that are watching this, or if you got this video shared to you or whatever else, if you're unfamiliar with what a PCC is, it is a pistol caliber carbine. Sometimes that can get a little bit confusing because you can have something that is a pistol, and I guess technically speaking, it is not a pistol caliber carbine, maybe a PCP, you know, have fun with that one. So everything that is basically chambered in a handgun caliber, I'm going to lump into a pistol caliber carbine for the sake of this video. AKs, we're talking all AK variants, all calibers of AK variants, and then for ARs, all variants as well. And we're going to lump them all into one, and then we'll go from there. Which one would I choose? So you're a beginner right now, you don't own any rifle at the moment, and you're looking to get into, I hate using that word like tactical. I hate that word, but tactical carbine, right? You want to get into a tactical carbine, a more modern rifle that is going to be great for, you know, home defense, self-defense, but you also want to shoot it, practice, train with it at the range, keep it for protection against tyranny, whatever else. These are all great ideas to go after a rifle. Unfortunately, if you're a beginner watching this, you chose a hell of a time to get into this world. I'll tell you that much, because wow, it is a lot. I remember working at a gun shop maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago, or even a year ago, and people would come in, and it was back when I was selling Ruger AR-556 AR variants for. We were running sales for $550, $600, and people would still sit there and look at them and be like, "Oh man, I don't know if I really want to drop that kind of money right now. I'll wait, till they're better. Or I'll wait till something happens." And I would always tell these folks, "Look, if you don't have one now, I'm telling you, you're not going to want to wait a month from now, a year from now, whatever else, because God knows what's going to happen." And sure enough, here we are. So AR versus AK versus PCC, which one would I recommend you go with if you have nothing? That's a tough question. At the moment, it is kind of a lose-lose. At the moment, I would probably still recommend you get into the AR world, the AR-15 world, whether you're going for a rifle or a pistol. And the biggest reason for this, so if you're not familiar with the ammo shortage that's going on that we've talked about multiple times on these live streams, it's kind of a lose-lose here. Why is it a lose-lose? It's a lose-lose because AR-15 parts and components to build your rifle or to buy a rifle or a pistol are somewhat available. That, I was literally just before this live stream, I went on Palmetto State's website, I went on a couple of other websites, and they are in stock at the moment. That could change later tonight, that could change tomorrow, but there are options in stock. Why is it a lose-lose? Because you might build your rifle or your pistol, but there's no ammunition available at a reasonable price for a standard 5.56, 223, or even a 300 blackout AR. So, again, you got kind of a lose-lose there. Let's go to the AK world. I love my AKs, and I love a good old AK. But with that being said, AKs at the moment are ridiculously unavailable. It doesn't matter if you have the money to spend unless you're looking at like $2,000 or $3,000. The big problem with the AKs right now is you are not going to be able to find an AK variant in stock online, that is. You might be able to go into a gun shop. I'm sure they are just as difficult to find right now in gun shops as they are online. This is a lose-lose because, of course, the only available ammunition, reliably available for an inexpensive cost, is 7.62 by 39 ammunition and also 5.45. These are two predominantly AK calibers, and again, it's a lose-lose. It's like it's a game. So now we have good ammunition availability on the AK side, but bad availability of the gun. And on the AR side, we have okay availability on the AR, but we have horribly, horribly bad availability and price on ammunition. Not looking too good. If we go to the pistol caliber carbine category, it opens up a little bit. You might be able to get a pistol caliber carbine chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson. You might be able to get one in 10 mil. You might be able to get one in 45, even though 45 is getting very, very, very tough to come by as well. I would not really recommend going with a 9mm pistol caliber carbine right now, because it seems that actually 9mm is probably one of the most grossly overpriced calibers at the moment. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I would imagine that 9mm is so bad right now is because that is just the panic buying caliber. And because of all of the massively panic bought guns over the past couple of months, a lot of those folks bought 9mm. And I'll tell you why. It's because that was the absolute #1 recommended choice in gun shops. I would recommend it to people back when ammunition was inexpensive. I would say, look, here are the benefits of this caliber. Generally, they would be getting a handgun, and those were, I would imagine, one of the most commonly sold calibers across all 50 states. Well, we're feeling that really hard now, so I would not recommend anything chambered in 9mm at the moment. And guys, I almost threw up when I went on AmmoSeek, okay? I went on AmmoSeek yesterday. I've never seen this in my life. I saw a box of 9mm Tula ammo. Tula ammo. I've shot so many thousands of rounds of that stuff, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many rounds I've shot of that. Love the ammo, but I used to pay 5 months ago like $6, $7 a box, okay? I saw a box of 50 Tula ammo going for $21.99. Are you kidding me? $21.99 for a box of steel case 9mm. I can't even believe that. It is actually, it would be cheaper for you right now to shoot 308 or 7.62 by 51 than it would be to shoot 9mm. Poof. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Cannot believe it. Cannot believe it at all. I want to catch up on your comments real quick here, guys. Sorry. Mike, already read that one. Keep it against tyranny. You know how we roll, man. E-Rock, what is up? I picked up a Ruger PCC as I am in California. It's a lot of fun shooting. From my hip, my Ruger AR-556 came in with a free 1022 for $6.99, so that was cool. Free 1022? What? Where was that deal? I never saw that. That's pretty sweet. Tactical, maybe a versatile carbine. I really like that, Mike. Good call on that. J Ran, glad I bought one. You really should be, for sure. I ended up just building a couple for close friends. It was easier than them finding what they wanted at a store. Yeah, for sure. E-Rock, AR, you also say AK. I get where you're coming from there. Get an AR-15 if you have nothing. Casey, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. AR all day, yep. 2 hands, 2 rifles. Why not, man? You're beating everybody out on that. That is so true. It's hard to source handguards. John, we're going to talk about that in a minute. E-Rock's got it right. You can always put a different caliber on your PCC set. John, that's a great point. So if you did get a PCC, you can switch it out, but that would be another reason why I would recommend to a beginner an AR variant right now. It's going to be a lot easier for you to pop on another upper, to change out your lower, to switch out your bolt carrier group, to drop in a 22 conversion kit while 22 is even there, even though 22 is gone really quickly. But with an AR variant, it is a lot easier to swap out parts depending on which caliber is available. You might be able to buy your lower receiver, which is the serialized part for beginners that are watching this. That's a serialized, so that is what the federal government considers the gun, is the lower receiver. So you'd need to go to a gun shop to pick that lower receiver up, unless you built an 80% lower receiver. More power to you, but I doubt a beginner is going to be doing that. So with that being said, if you get your lower, there are multiple different uppers that you can go with in a wide variety of different calibers. So if you are not really interested in 223 or 556 because of how bad the ammunition is, can you switch it out for a different option? Absolutely. 223 or 5.56, these are great calibers to go with. It's just the availability and the price of this ammunition right now is through the roof, and it's just it is almost not even worth it. In fact, I don't want to say not even worth it, but man, you should have been here a month or two ago, because that was like, and I know woulda, coulda, shoulda, but at this point, in order to get 500 or 1,000 rounds of 223 or 5.56, you are literally paying the same price that you could to complete your entire rifle. So to complete your entire rifle for a very, very low budget, you are literally paying the exact same amount of money for just 1,000 rounds of ammo, which is insane. Is absolutely insane. Is it now viable to reload 5.56 and 9mm? So, Bo, I would say that the big issue there, and I would argue what people are going to start running into with reloading, is that the components themselves are also relatively difficult to find right now. If you go to the range and you brass pick and you become a brass goblin walking around trying to grab everybody's brass, you might be able to get successful with brass, but you still got to worry about bullets, and there's a massive lead shortage in the ammunition manufacturing world right now. So if you don't have bullets, you're going to have a problem. I've heard of people manufacturing their own bullets, whether they are melting down certain types of products that contain lead in order to cast their own ammunition. That's fine. Just be aware of the guns that can shoot cast lead bullets and the guns that cannot. Most factory Glock barrels of certain generations actually cannot shoot cast lead ammunition. So that's always something to think about. If reloading supplies were there as well, even that got hit hard. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Do we have an idea of when ammo will go back to normal? J-Rand, honestly, I would say best guesstimate maybe a year to 2 years. And I would imagine that the price is still going to remain high. What are your favorite online resources for AR parts? John, I would say that the typical ones that you would imagine, Palmetto State Armory, Primary Arms, I go to a lot. Joe Bob Outfitters. I was just on their website maybe like 2 weeks ago to source some parts for one of my builds. And I have to say, with all of the availability like all over the place, I went to Joe Bob Outfitters. I've never shopped with them before, but the prices were relatively impressive. Talked to a couple buddies just because the website kind of looks more on the, more on the sketchier side, and I don't really want to risk throwing my card in everywhere. I've heard of Joe Bob Outfitters before. I've just never bought from them. So I asked around. Everybody said, look, it's a great site. They have really fast shipping. So I bought maybe $100 worth of parts. They were all in stock. They didn't pull, like other companies do where they say it's in stock, but in reality, it is not in stock, and it's actually on back order. And the parts arrived in like 2 days. So it was like super good service. So I will be using Joe Bob Outfitters again. But yeah, Palmetto State Armory and Primary Arms, those three are probably my top. Midway USA for, random parts, accessories, whatever. But that would probably be my top. There are definitely other websites that I might, kind of make my way to every now and again, but ultimately those are the four big ones. Brownells as well. All of the big manufacturers, I try to find whatever I can from everywhere. Unfortunately, it is not the time to have just one favorite online shop. I don't know who would still be doing that, but it is the time where you're going to have to go to probably 5 or 6 different places to find all the parts that you're looking for your build. Barrel lengths. Let's talk about that real quick. So barrel lengths. Should you go with a pistol or should you go with a rifle? And if you do go with a pistol, BC, what's up, man? Good to see you. Oops. Negative. You see what's going on in Portland, Oregon, right? ES20, I'm not exactly sure which part you're referring to. High Point makes a good pistol carbine for the price. They do run. They look a little bit ugly, but they do run. Joe Bob Outfitters got me a few Hellcat mags, something that is very hard to get in California. High capacity mags. They sent them to my FFL to be blocked. Awesome service. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Georgia Gun Store, great place. I have seen them online, so that could be another good one. Would I recommend a beginner getting into a rifle or a pistol variant? For the beginners that are watching, what are the two, right? So an AR-15 that has a barrel length of 16 inches or greater is classified under the ATF and the NFA as a rifle. If it has a barrel length of less than 16 inches, then it has to be classified as different things. It is not a rifle unless it still has a stock. This is very important, a stock on the end of it, and it is registered with the NFA as a short-barreled rifle. If it is registered with a barrel length of less than 16 inches, you've gotten your stamp of approval, and there is a stock on the end, it is still a rifle. But to make it even more confusing, it is actually then classified as a short-barreled rifle, legally speaking. A pistol has a barrel length less than 16 inches, but an overall length of less than 26 inches, and it does not have a stock, but it can have a stabilizing brace on the end. This brace is not designed as a stock, nor could it be your intent to use it as a stock to circumvent the NFA, but it is available, and that would require no paperwork, the pistol, as far as no additional NFA paperwork. The short-barreled rifle would require additional NFA paperwork, a $200 tax stamp, and a weight. There is also a third subcategory here, or a fourth subcategory, which is a firearm. This confuses a lot of beginners. A firearm is not an AR-15 pistol at this point. If you had an AR-15 and it had a pistol brace and a barrel length less than 16 inches, but an overall length of greater than 26 inches, it is actually no longer classified as a pistol. It is classified legally as a firearm. That category is a little bit odd. Easiest way to think about it is the same or somewhat of the same legalities as an AR-15 pistol. But with that being said, don't quote me on this, blah, 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 blah. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you legal advice. My understanding of it would be that you could actually have a vertical grip on that firearm, whereas on an AR-15 pistol, if you put a vertical grip on there, technically speaking, you would have manufactured an any other weapon. I know, categories. Long and the short, though, which one would I recommend, an AR-15 pistol or a rifle? That depends on exactly what you're looking to use it for. The benefits of an AR-15 pistol would simply be that generally, state to state, it is going to fall under your concealed carry permit, whereas in many states, a rifle would not fall under a concealed carry permit. In Pennsylvania, you cannot carry a rifle loaded in your vehicle. So if you're looking to have a truck gun, you cannot do that with a rifle in the state of Pennsylvania. However, an AR-15 pistol falls under your concealed carry permit here in the state. So that is definitely a big deal and something to think about. However, if you also don't want to worry about any ridiculous, unconstitutional pieces of opinion letters that the ATF might pull out of their ass and hand to you down the pipeline, and you're unfamiliar with this stuff and you don't really want to get down into the weeds with it, then you may want to just stick with the rifle, and you're going to have a great setup for home defense. And then on top of that, 223 and 5.56, that caliber really was originally designed for a 20-inch barrel. So the moment that you get below 20 inches, the benefits are going to change. So when we're talking barrel length, it's kind of odd, but if you had, the easiest way to explain this is to kind of give you guys an idea here. So imagine you have kind of like, this is going to be a very crude graph here, right? But, so imagine, let's see here, I can't remember if these are the exact numbers, but we'll go 11. So imagine you had this graph here. Please excuse the bad writing. Originally, best ballistics designed for a 20-inch barrel. So a 20-inch barrel is going to be the most ideal. However, the moment you start decreasing in barrel length, you will start losing out on the ballistics, the ballistic advantage that the round has. You will start losing out on certain velocities and performance at a certain distance. The odd thing is that at certain barrel lengths, it actually spikes up a bit on the graph, and it's not quite as bad. And they're very specific. One of those for velocity, I believe the lowest is 11 inches. The further you go below 11 inches, it might look really cool. It might be really, really loud at the range, but for 223 or 556, ballistically speaking, with velocities, it is not ideal. So I would never, ever, ever, if you're going to go with a pistol length AR, I would never go below 10.5 inches in a 5.56. If you want to have just a fun range toy and just mess around with it, that's one thing. But I just don't see any benefit. Ideally, I would probably stick with like 11 or 12.5 inches, but a 10.5 inch is just fine. And you're going to find a lot more 10.5 inch uppers available online, and that's going to be a big benefit. So for barrel length, if you don't have any size constraints for barrel length and the overall profile of the rifle, I would go all the way out to 18 or 20 inches, get a little bit of extra velocity there, and have really high performance out of the round. If that doesn't matter to you, if you're looking for more urban environment use with the rifle, then 16 inches is going to be just fine. 14.5 you can get pinned and welded. We're not going to get into that. This is more of a beginner video, but yes. Sorry guys, I just want to catch up on some of your comments here. We should compile a list. Absolutely, John. That's a great idea. Grand Power Strybog is the flavor of the month right now. Their new roller delayed model was just released as well. BC, to be completely honest with you, I am not sold on the Strybog's roller delayed system over their direct blowback system. I would really love to see. I know that their roller delayed system has already experienced issues, and that is prime example of generally when companies try to throw in a roller delayed system and they realize how incredibly complicated it is to get that system to run accurately. That's why we have so many issues getting MP5 clones to work properly on the market. So I would prefer the direct blowback, straight blowback Strybog, because if you're looking for reliability, that's probably going to be the way to go until they get rid of all the kinks on the direct blow or on the roller delayed system. $500 will get you a high point 40 cal pistol and a 40 cal carbine, and mags are interchangeable. Jack, $500 is very, very high for a high point carbine. I'm not sure where you're seeing those prices. Picked up a Henry 44 mag lever gun carbine yesterday, hoping to get a few hundred more rounds of ammunition before it runs out, getting thin. Rich, honestly, 44 mag is actually probably a great choice right now. I recommend new buyers don't build, but buy a Smith & Wesson or Ruger AR-15. They will fix any problems. That's a great point, Casey. When we're looking at new owners here, you know, they don't fall under warranty if you're going to be building. Yes, Palmetto State does warranty, does warranty some parts. With that being said, the warranty is going to be a lot better when it comes down to a Ruger or a Smith & Wesson. Between those two rifles, the Ruger AR-556 or the Smith & Wesson, I would hands down choose the Ruger each and every time. I think the Smith & Wesson was great, but quite frankly, I don't think Smith & Wesson kept up with the times with their affordable AR variants. Ruger blew them out of the water with free float rail options, with DMR style options, with different furniture, with Magpul furniture, and always kept it below $1,000 price point. Smith & Wesson just didn't have that. They had some tactical variations of the M&P Sport, but they still were working with nitrided barrels, whereas all of the Ruger AR-556 rifles had mil-spec anodizing and cold hammer forged barrels. They still do. That alone puts it worlds apart from the Smith & Wesson. I'm not trying to argue that the Smith & Wesson is a bad gun. I'm just simply saying that if you're trying to decide between the two, for me, in my opinion, it would be the Ruger all day. All day. Sorry guys, I'm still catching up. X-Tar EP9 for $430 is something worth checking out. I'd love for you to get one and do a review on one. BC, I'd love to do one, man. The problem is just availability of everything. High point carbine, there are AR-15s for just another 100. Casey, I actually misunderstood his comment there. It was actually 2 high point carbines, which would make sense. Yes, Little Joe, you bring up a great point there. Please, beginners watching this, do not contact the ATF and ask for clarification. Please, dear God, don't do that. Velocity, anyone here have Daniel Defense? I've been thinking about picking one up for 1,700. Worth it. Casey, to be honest with you, man, I'm going to probably get some hate in the comment section for this. I would much more recommend a BCM. Just my opinion. I think BCMs run incredible, and for the money that they come in at, I think they beat out Daniel Defense all day, every day. That's just me. That's just me. Daniel Defense still has incredible rifles, don't get me wrong. I just think they are overpriced, and they play on the name quite a bit. My local gun shop has an Uzi with a folding stock. Is that considered a pistol? Rich, it depends. Generally speaking, with an Uzi, it may look like it has a shorter barrel, but with that being said, it actually could be a dummy barrel, just a plug, not a live barrel. So with that being said, you would want to ask the store whether or not it actually has a 16-inch barrel that threads on in, or if that's a dummy barrel, or if it is a short-barreled rifle. Terms are very important here. A stock, if you say it has a folding stock and a short barrel, it would be a short-barreled rifle. However, if it is a brace, it is a pistol, generally speaking, unless it falls into the firearm category. Austin, no problem, buddy. Strybog has a fatal mag issues. They crack. Interesting, Little Joe. That's a great point. Ruger all day. I just didn't want to be biased. The Delta Ring is amazing. You are on it with the Ruger being the best budget AR-15. Yeah, Casey, I would agree. Austin, thank you so much, man, for that donation. That is incredible. Thank you. Whoa, M&P 15 is the better gun. I've seen too many Rugers with issues. Smith & Wesson's run and run. Hey, BC, it's all personal preference, man. For me, my Ruger works great. I will absolutely agree, though, that especially working in a gun shop, I saw many more QC issues coming out of the factory with Ruger than I did with Smith & Wesson. So that actually, in fact, I don't think I ever sent a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 back to the factory, ever. Meaning before it even got out to the gun shop, like just off of the delivery truck. However, I think I maybe sent, out of my 5 or 6, 7 years getting them in, I think I probably sent 10, 15 Ruger AR-556s back to the factory. The downfall with Ruger AR-556s tends to be, John, again, thank you so much, man. That's incredible for the donation. Thank you. So with the Ruger AR-556s, generally speaking, the quality control can be a little bit off. However, if you get one, that's fine, and you check it out at the gun shop, it's looking good, you're going to be good to go. But be aware of that. BC, my main comment and point there is just the quality of the components as far as barrel and finish and bolt carrier group and different things like that. Delta ring, just kind of upgrades there. Sport 2s. The Sport 2s are awesome for sure. Okay, so hopefully beginners are getting somewhat of help out of this. I know we're kind of going all over the place, but we will see. So ultimately, barrel length, whatever else, it's all going to be personal preference. If you're not looking to deal with any sort of issues, Austin, geez, man, Mike too. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. So if we are going down the list here and we are looking at different things, it's all going to be a personal preference. With that being said, a rifle may be the way you want to go for a beginner. Casey brought up a great point. If you still want to deal with a factory warranty, a Smith & Wesson or a Ruger or any other options are going to be a good choice as well. I told you $5 if you learned something. Mike, that's awesome, man. What did you learn? Let me know. Okay, let's move down the list here. We'll kind of get down so I don't spend too much time on one talking point. Rail choices. A lot of beginners, they aren't sure what to go with. They say, hey, you know, I don't know. What is M-LOK? What is key mod? Picatinny rail. What's the best choice to go with? Short and sweet here. Picatinny rail, generally speaking, is going to be the most bulky, but the strongest option humanly possible to mount something to. Key mod, generally speaking, is going to be the fastest mounting option. I mean, literally just pops right on, screws in, good to go. M-LOK is going to be quickly adjustable, the most low profile, and the strongest option that is not a Picatinny rail out of the three. Generally speaking, Alexander, thank you so much, man. Generally speaking, M-LOK is the wiser choice, generally speaking. It allows you to have a very slim, low-profile handguard. It allows you to have somewhat of the same strength as a Picatinny rail, but with that being said, it is still pretty quickly installed, whether we're talking about parts, components, whatever, to the M-LOK directly. A lot of beginners go into a gun shop, they see a rifle, and they notice that there's slots on the rifle, but they have kind of an old school mindset where they want to see a rail all over the place, and that cues them that something goes there. A lot of people don't understand that M-LOK, all those little slots or key mod, looks kind of like a keyhole, are all things that can be attached directly to it. So you could put rails all over the place. You could not. I'll be completely brutally honest with you guys here. I have key mod, Picatinny rail, and I also have M-LOK. I am not biased when it comes down to mounting options. Is M-LOK stronger than key mod? Yes. Is it? Jeez, Austin, $20 donation. Jeez, man. Thank you, man. Seriously. Jesus, that is so nice of you guys. You guys have no idea. You have no idea how much that means to me. You really don't. It is incredibly helpful. Incredibly helpful. I personally, I have issues with M-LOK components from Magpul. Not with strength, not with quality, not with anything else, but that goddamn yellow Loctite that they put on every one of their M-LOK screws, because I swear to God, every time it's a pain in the ass. Every time. I have a vise, I get it on just fine, but it's always a pain in the ass. And for that reason, I generally always use BCM M-LOK components, just because they put regular Loctite. That's all I'm asking you, Magpul. Put some regular goddamn Loctite on there. That's it. That's it. Make my life easier so that I'm not sitting there twisting and twisting with all your little crunchy Loctite on the screw. So yeah, that would be my only gripe with M-LOK, is that if you're using Magpul accessories, generally they utilize Loctite that is a little bit more annoying. BCM alleviates that problem. I would go with BCM attachments if you can. With that being said, key mod, I have never had an issue of things snapping off of key mod. Key mod has been proven to be the weaker options out there, depending on all the other stuff, right? There were military tests done on this stuff, and the military testing, whatever, proved it not to be as strong. Will you ever notice that in everyday defensive shooting here in the civilian world, even in the military world, whatever else? Will you ever notice that? Will you ever have issues with strength or whatever? I don't think so. But if you want to be sure, go with M-LOK or Pic Rail. Pic Rail is great, has a really cool traditional look. It's just kind of bulky, so something to think about there. It has a little bit extra weight. Oh, Mike, you learned about the difference in QC components. That's awesome. Thoughts on SBRing an AR pistol? Any concerns about the Future and Alphabet boys? Lopan, I would see absolutely no benefit whatsoever of SBRing an AR pistol at the moment. I don't like going through all of the added ridiculousness, and I also don't like paying an unconstitutional tax to the government because it should not exist. But with that being said, I know that in the state of Maryland, and if you live in the state of Maryland, it would actually, you cannot own certain AR-15 pistols at all, but you can own a short-barreled rifle. So that might be something to think about. Outweigh the pluses and the minuses. Understand that if you have to leave the state, you have to get permission from the ATF in order to do that. Now, with that being said, an AR-15 pistol, you do not. An AR-15 pistol falls under a concealed carry permit, where a short-barreled rifle puts it into a rifle category. So in a lot of states, you actually can't carry that concealed in your vehicle. On top of that, in a truck gun, in a defensive situation, whatever, you are now using an NFA item. That changes things legality-wise, and it also changes things with frustrations afterwards trying to get that item back. If you lose that item, God forbid, if somebody steals that item, these are all things that come into play that a lot of people don't think about. That an AR-15 pistol just doesn't come along with all of those issues. So, I don't know. If you're worried about braces being banned and then going down the NFA route, I would say that's somewhat of a valid concern. But quite frankly, honestly, if you're worried about that, they're trying to do the same thing with pretty much any semi-automatic rifle at this point. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. With the evolution of braces, it's not really worth it anymore. If you don't want to worry about new classification to pistols, then go with SPR. But if you want to conceal carry, save the $200. Austin, I would absolutely agree. And not to be on a national registry, then stay with the pistol. Absolutely. Even though I've built several ARs, I still find very useful info. I clean off the yellow Loctite from Magpul and use bolts from the hardware store. John, that's probably a great thing to do, man. Still find very useful information here. John, that is awesome. Hey, I'm on break at work. Echo, thanks for hanging out on your break, man. You can revert the SBR back to a pistol temporarily and travel across state lines without notifying the alphabets. BC, it's a little bit gray, honestly. There's some folks that say you can do that, but quite frankly, just as many forums that say you can revert it back to a pistol and then go across state lines, then revert it back to a short-barreled rifle. Just as many ATF clarifications letter that people have shown that say that are just as many clarifications letters saying that you cannot do that. The clarification that I have seen the most of is that once it is a registered item, you cannot change it back from not being a registered item unless you call the ATF and say this is no longer that registered item. That serial number is registered whether you like it or not, and if you throw a brace on, I would say you're still going to run into issues, quite frankly. But with that being said, I could be totally wrong there. So there's a lot of information out there, and this is the big problem with short-barreled rifles is half the time nobody really knows, honestly. I have no idea. It's all unconstitutional. It's all bullshit. But this is the big problem is that there is no clarification. And to make matters even more frustrating, if you call and ask for clarification, you're going to be penalized for that. And then on top of that, you're asking about clarification for something that shouldn't even exist in the first place by an agency that should not at all regulate any sort of laws like the way that they do. So, and from an organization that should not exist in the first place. So frustrating. But you could absolutely be right. I've absolutely seen that before, BC. I just don't know. I've seen both sides. So that's the only reason why I don't want to 100% agree. How personal experience is a direct correlation with our perception of a company. I had nothing but problems with my Smith & Wesson and Shield. Sold it for a Hellcat and HK for EDC. Casey, that's interesting. ATF is still notified with that. Too much BS paper trails. Austin, I would agree. I would definitely agree. I wanted to talk quickly for beginners where you can buy your first rifle right now. If, I'm talking a lot about AR variants here. With that being said, if you're still interested in an AK variant right now, I'll be honest with you, I found one in stock online, and that was at Atlantic Firearms. It was the RH-10. Those generally are very, very over-gassed because they have a 90-degree gas block, and they're kind of designed to be SBR'd with the barrel cut down. it's not looking too good. Rich, thank you so much, man. Thanks for the great info. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. So AKs are just tough to find right now. Right now I'm seeing Arsenal's Bulgarian AKs going for like $1,900 on Gunbroker, $2,500 on Gunbroker. They are not available anywhere in any shape or form. Good luck. They are not available on the Palmetto State website. There is no AK variants available there. So it's not looking good right now, and that's the only reason why I'm straying away from AK variants in today's video when I'm trying to help beginners out. It's just not a good idea. As far as going down that road, because you're going to be triple, quadruple paying what you would have paid like 2 months ago. So just kind of think about that. So all Palmetto State Armory pricing, if you're looking to get a complete rifle or a build kit from Palmetto State Armory, right now, as of before this live stream started, Palmetto State still had build kits, totally complete, minus the lower receiver, available in stock. What I noticed is that compared to maybe 4 or 5 months ago, the price points have all, on every AR-15 parts kit and AR-15 complete firearm on their website, have all raised by $100 or $200. So they've all increased in value by $100 or $200 in the past couple of months. Remember that, because moving forward here, they're going to continue to increase. So remember that. Now, something else that I noticed is I went over to BCM's website, and BCM has not changed their prices at all for their uppers, their upper receivers completed. You can still find a completed upper receiver available on BCM's website in stock right now. There were maybe 5 or 6 options in stock on BCM's website, and those options were between $650 to $730 for a complete BCM upper receiver, depending on length and depending on what it came with. To be honest with you, Palmetto State build kits right now are like $600-700. So I would much rather have the BCM upper at that point and source out the parts for the lower and everything else. I don't need the crappy stock that comes with some of the PSA parts kits. The PSA rifles, don't get me wrong, they're awesome. I have many of them. I'm just saying, with the price point now, it's kind of like, before I like Palmetto State Armories because of the price point. Now, they're about the same damn price as a BCM upper, so at this point, I would rather just get the BCM upper if I'm spending $600 or $700 on a not completed rifle. So that's something to think about. Casey, thank you so much, man. Seriously. You know, you guys are, quite frankly, the sole thing that is keeping this channel afloat financially, and I want to thank you for that. Not just with donations in live streams, but actually, literally, by just watching these videos. YouTube shadow bans the living hell out of my channel. They cut my revenue by 70% every other month with ad revenue that I do get, and we are not crowdfunded or anything like that yet. So by doing this subscribe star, moving forward, I'm hoping to give you guys an option. Those of you incredible people who donate in these live streams, I would love to give you guys an option to not have to just donate in a live stream, but if you would like to donate to the channel, you can do it on a more easier basis on a website like Subscribestar or whatever, and give you guys an alternative option to do that. So that is coming. I just started a new job this past week, and it is a 45-hour work week job. So there's a lot going on top of doing this channel, and I'm actually starting. I know some of you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but a third job, a third part-time job at a gun shop once again. I'm going to be starting that mid-August. I couldn't stay away from gun shops long enough, so I am back doing a little part-time gig at a gun shop as well. So rolling three jobs at the moment. So again, going to keep all the videos updated, constantly coming on the channel here, but that's kind of why the Subscribestar and Patreon account takes a little bit of time to do. No one knows when the heat will simmer, though. God forbid if Biden wins, we're all screwed. BC, yeah, I would agree, man. This truly is the perfect storm. It really is. We're going to bring a tear to his eye. You guys are, man. You guys are. It's glorious to see FF in the saddle. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. Aero Precision came out with green anodized receivers and build kits on Wednesday last week. Tried to grab one soon as the email hit and the traffic had caused their website to hang, all gone in a minute. John, that definitely happens. So Aero, another phenomenal choice. If you're looking for like a high quality build kit and everything like that, Aero is a great way to go. Very good, reliable stuff at still a reasonable price point. At this point, I got news for you guys. If you're seeing, which I doubt you even are at this point, but if you're seeing like an Anderson lower in a shop for $49 and it's there and it's available and you're not like, I'm going to grab that because it's an Anderson and you're listening to memes or whatever else online about Anderson lower receivers, I would say you're dead wrong, because I would be buying any receiver, any anodized or aluminum 7076 aluminum receiver. I'd be buying it up because the receivers, mark my words, are the next thing to go. And if you're sitting there like, oh, I'm not going to buy the Poverty Pony, blah, 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 I'm going to wait to get this or this or this, and you let it go, and it's a $50 receiver and you let it go, you're going to be kicking yourself in the ass 2 months from now when everything is gone and you still have an ability to build some complete rifles. With that being said, I have used maybe 6 Anderson lower receivers. I paid maybe $40 to $50 for each one, and in total honesty, I have never had a QC issue. I've never had a hole that was not properly finished through. I never had improperly spec'd parts or pieces. And in selling 1,000 of them, maybe a little bit more, and in selling maybe 1,000, maybe a little bit more Spikes receivers with the Anderson receivers, and seeing Spikes receivers side by side with Anderson receivers, I can tell you guys that it looked like the same damn receiver, except one was $50 more. So I don't know. I know there are many people that have had issues with Anderson receivers. I'm not trying to say they're the best. My only point there is that if you are like kind of like, oh, I don't want to grab it because it's an Anderson, at this point, I would get what you can. We'll say that. We all need to create another social media site that doesn't punish people for talking about guns. Too bad most social media is run by commies. Rich, right? Rough, man. We need to vote independent. Both primary parties are infringing. Awesome. We'll hit that topic up in the Instagram live streams where we get a little bit more spices. Andersons are fine. Just built one for a buddy. Yeah, I think there's a lot of meme hype around Andersons. I've never had a problem with their lower receivers. I'm not trying to talk about other parts, uppers, rifles, complete guns. Not talking about that. I'm just talking about the receiver itself. I've not had an issue with the receiver, and I built a bunch. Other than I wish it was mil-spec anodized, it is what it is. But at the moment, I'd be buying whatever Anderson receiver you come across, quite frankly. Guys, we got about two minutes left till we hit that hour mark. Is there any other questions that you have before we wrap it up so I can go give myself a nice little homemade haircut and hope for the best, because I'm trying to save some money, or because I'm a little bit too poor to afford a haircut, but that's okay. That's okay. So any other questions, throw them in. And please, if you're watching this until now, let me know down in the comment section what you would like to see next, because I'm always looking for new topics. And on top of that, share this video around with your friends, because quite frankly, I think YouTube has shadow banned my channel out of existence this month. I've lost my subscriber gain this month is actually cut down almost 70%. Austin, thank you again, man. Jeez, you've donated so much in this live stream. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I'm buying receivers whenever I see them available. Just loaded up on some arrows in FDE. John, it's a great thing to do, man. Talk about silencers in your next video. Little Joe, I can definitely do that. Tell you what, throw a comment down below so I don't forget that you said that. What are some new rifles that caught your attention? Quite frankly, I've been so focused right now on buying parts for each one of my guns that it was kind of just not completed, and buying ammunition that my eyes haven't really been out there for a new rifle at the moment. It's just not the buyer's market. It's not a buyer's market. Mike, thank you so much, buddy. All right, guys. We're at about the hour mark. Another awesome one in the books. You guys are an incredible group of people. Those of you that watch these videos, those of you that choose to donate, like, comment down below, all of you guys literally make this channel what it is. I would be nowhere without your support. I will always try to consistently give you the most unbiased, honest videos that you are ever going to see here in this community for firearms content and everything like that, and I hope you appreciate it. We are slowly but surely growing an incredibly awesome family here on YouTube and on all of the other social media sites, and I cannot thank you guys enough. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up now. As always, check down in the description below for the links to the Firearm Freedom Discord server, Instagram account, Facebook account, Twitter. We do daily posts on all 4 of those accounts, or 3 of those accounts. One, we do daily conversations. Give those a follow if you want to check them out. And as always, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, smash the like button, and thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more great videos to come soon. Have a great night.